Welcome to the AdWords online classroom. This class will show you how to increase your profitability by better setting and managing your AdWords bids. As our focus will be profit, some maths will be required, but stay with us and you'll soon be able to get more money back from AdWords. First, we'll explain what your Max CPC bid is. Then we'll present 3 simple steps for managing your bids and take a detailed look at each of these steps. Using an example, we'll show you how these steps work in practice. And finally, we'll review the key points. Let's do a quick review of bidding in AdWords and the different types of bids you'll see in your account. Here's a simplified view of the Ad Groups tab in your AdWords account. Max CPC, or maximum cost per click, is the maximum amount you're willing to pay for a single click. This is what people commonly refer to as their bid. It's called Default Max CPC in the Ad Group view because it only applies if you haven't set CPCs at the keyword level. More on that in a moment. The Content Max CPC is the amount you're willing to pay for a single click on the Google Content Network. This is an advanced feature and not one we'll focus on in today's lesson. Your average CPC is the average amount you have paid for each click. AdWords uses an auction model, so the actual amount you pay for a click will often be less than your Max CPC bid. At the end of this lesson, we'll share a link where you can learn more about average CPC. In this case, we've set the Max CPC bid of the Shoes ad group to £1. Meaning we're willing to pay up to £1 for someone to click on our ad for shoes. In order for your ads to run, you need to set a Max CPC bid for each of your ad groups. However, you can also set individual Max CPC bids for each of your keywords. Keyword-level bid management can be very valuable, but to keep this class simple, we will focus on setting bids at the ad group level. Don't worry, the techniques we will cover can also be applied to individual keyword bids. Now let's look at 3 simple steps you can use to effectively manage your AdWords bids. When setting your bids, we recommend you follow 3 simple steps. First, figure out the amount of money you earn on average from each Google user who clicks your ad and visits your website. This is known as the value per click. Second, set your Max CPC bid below your value per click. And third, adjust your bid until you find the point that generates the most profit. Don't worry, we are going to explain all of these concepts in detail in the next 10 minutes. Let's get started. The first step to setting your bids is determining how much money you make from a click on your ad. This is referred to as your value per click, and it represents the most you can spend on a click without losing money. Let's calculate the value per click of the Shoes ad group. For simplicity, we are going to walk through an example that measures sales profits. However, we will also explain how the same calculation can be used for campaigns that focus on leads or sign-ups rather than sales. The first step is to figure out how much profit we've made from AdWords. To do this, we need to know how many clicks led to sales. After 1 week, our shoes ad was shown 10,000 times and received 100 clicks. Looking at our sales records, we found that these 100 clicks resulted in the sale of 5 shoes. Here, it is important that you know how many sales came from AdWords compared to other forms of advertising. If you don't already track how many sales you get from AdWords, there are links at the end of this class to help. Now we make £150 from each shoe sale, and each shoe costs us £100. To calculate the profit, we will subtract our costs from the sale price. £150 minus £100 equals £50, so our profit from each sale is £50 before advertising costs. Now, to calculate our total profit before advertising, we simply multiply the profit from each sale by the number of shoes sold. So, with the 5 shoes sold and £50 in profit per shoe, we've earned £250 in profit before advertising costs. Now that we know how much profit was created by AdWords, we can go back to the 100 clicks we received and figure out how much we should bid for each one of those clicks. To determine the value per click, we need to divide our profits before advertising by the number of clicks received. £250 divided by 100 clicks yields a value per click of £2.50. This means that each click on our ad brings us £2.50. To calculate the value per click for a campaign which is driving conversions such as leads or account sign-ups, you can simply substitute the sale price with the amount of money you would assign to a lead or sign-up. Now, the reason for calculating the value per click is that it enables us to find the most profitable Max CPC bid for our ad group. Increasing Max CPC bids will usually increase the number of clicks our ad receives, driving more sales and more profits before advertising. However, because this involves increasing our bids, it will increase the cost of our advertising and affect our profit. There will be a point at which the cost of an additional click is greater than the profits you would get from that click. Fortunately, you don't need to understand this concept in detail to bid effectively in AdWords. It's actually much easier to simply experiment with different bids, and that's what we'll show you how to do now. Now that we know the value per click of our shoes ad group, we can use this information to find the most profitable Max CPC bid. This is step number 2, setting your initial bid lower than your value per click. To edit your bid while in the Ad Groups tab of your AdWords account, simply click on your current default Max CPC amount. A window appears in which you can enter your new bid. Set your initial bid below your value per click at a level you are comfortable with. In our example, we will set the bid to £1. Once you've set your initial bid, sit tight for a bit and wait for AdWords to start driving sales or conversions for you. As a general rule, you'll probably want to wait for 20 or more conversions before measuring your results and making any decisions. A small number of sales or leads may not give you reliable data. Finally, calculate the profit generated with this initial bid by subtracting the total advertising costs from the profit before advertising. Once you've calculated the profits from your initial bid, you're ready for step 3. Now it's time for a little experimentation. That's step 3. Adjust your bid until you find the points that generates the most profit. Keeping in mind the amount of profits your initial bid generated, try raising your bid. In our example, we raised it to £1.50. At this point, you need to measure your profits again. As before, make sure you wait for enough data to come in. Remember, 20 or more sales or leads is the general guideline. If your profits have increased, consider raising your bid again. At a certain point, increasing your bid will decrease your profits. Of course, when you reach this point, don't go any higher. In fact, you'll want to lower your bid a touch to try to find your perfect, most profitable bid. To see this process in action, we're going to walk through an example in the next section. But once more, don't forget, don't bid above your value per click. If you do, there's a chance you'll lose money. Now we are going to see how adjusting your bids can increase your profits. Let's look at some hypothetical results from the shoe ad group we've been discussing throughout this course. We already know our value per click is £2.50, so we'll start off by setting our Max CPC bid to something lower than £2.50. In this case, we've set it to £1. After 1 week, we've received 100 clicks at an average CPC of 75 pence, so our total advertising cost was £75. These 100 clicks resulted in the sale of 5 shoes, equaling £250 in profit before advertising. When we subtract the cost of advertising, £75, from the profits before advertising, £250, we get a profit after advertising of £175. For week 2, let's try increasing our Max CPC bid to £1.50 and see whether this higher bid will increase our profits. After looking at our total sales and costs, we can see that raising our Max CPC bid increased our profits from £175 to £375. For week 3, let's increase our Max CPC bid to £2. In this case, a higher Max CPC bid decreased our profits from £375 to £300. So we've reached a point where raising our bid no longer increases profits. Now for week 4, we have to try something different. Remember, if you reach a point where raising your Max CPC bid doesn't increase your profits, you should lower your bid. Therefore, since bidding at £1.50 was more profitable than bidding at £2, let's try a bid in between, say £1.75. A Max CPC bid of £1.75 leads to £396 in profit, the highest profit of all 4 weeks. So by experimenting with our bids, we increased our profits from £175 per week to £396 per week. Now let's do a quick review. The 3 steps for setting your bids are: 1. Find the most you can pay for a click, also known as your value per click. Remember, value per click tells you the highest bid you can set and still be certain you'll break even. It's calculated by dividing profits before advertising costs by number of clicks received. 2. Set your initial bid to a value below your value per click. And 3. Adjust your bid until you find the point that generates the highest profits. Remember, the general rule is to wait for at least 20 new conversions before testing a new bid. You should continue raising your Max CPC bid so long as doing so increases your profits. But if you find that your profits decrease, lower your Max CPC bid until you find the bid that makes the most profit. Adjusting your bids is an ongoing process, and you may occasionally need to check whether your Max CPCs are at the most profitable level.